I was driving down on my way into the city to work at a large company that I had just gotten an internship with. And as I was driving in my car, a Subaru, I was listening to the song Time to Pretend by MGMT. And this was right as I could see the office building, and I could drive on the street and then turn into where the office was, and that song was playing in the background, and it just created this such a unique feel. And I have so many memories tied now to this song because I was listening to the song on my very first day of my first internship, and this internship was in IT, which ultimately helped me to land a software engineer job now. And this internship, while it was not directly related to software development, it was still in IT and it was still in a reputable company, which allowed me to use the experience to help me get other internships and jobs as well. And I remember when I parked my car in the parking lot, I was super nervous and honestly scared because I didn't really know what to expect because this was my first internship. So I got out of my car. I was wearing, you know, nicer khaki pants, a button down, and I walked in the front door. I had to sign in. I got my pass so I could scan into the buildings, and I walked up to go to the orientation classroom. We had a few hours of meetings, and we learned basically the ropes of how this internship program would proceed. And then I went to meet my manager in the IT department, and then I got showed where my desk was. And when I first saw my desk and my laptop and my two monitors, I kind of felt like I made it. I felt like this was it. This was the call. This here represents the culmination of all my efforts. And I remember thinking about, during my junior year of college, all the time I had spent studying and all the time that I had put into working on my personal projects, trying to make iOS applications, failing and then succeeding, and then getting iOS applications published in the Apple App Store. I remember it was so surreal because it felt like my work had finally paid off, and it felt like all my additional studying, all my side projects, all the time that I had spent sitting in the library at night finally paid off, and I finally made it. And it was just such a unique feeling. It was so surreal, and so much of it was I remember it like it was yesterday, despite the fact that it was 7 years ago. This was after my junior year of college, so it was during that summer that I knew that I had to get an internship that summer if I was going to better my chances of getting a job after I graduated. So after many, many applications and many failures and many failed programming assessments, many failed interviews, many times not hearing back from any place, it got to a week before the end of my junior year. And so I had a week before summer. It was during finals week, and I still had no internship lined up for the summer. So at this point, I was really nervous and I was really stressed out because I felt like I failed. I felt like all my efforts to try to get a job weren't paying off. And honestly, it made me feel like all my time spent working on side projects was a waste. But then I got a phone call. I got a phone call when I was in class, and on my way to get lunch, I checked my phone and I saw I had a voicemail. I listened to my voicemail and I saw that I got a call back about an application that I put in, which this is typically a good sign, right? If you get a rejection, it's typically going to be in email, especially if it's the first, communication with them. So I called them back, and basically it turned into setting up an interview. So I set up an interview and it went well, and that led to another interview very quickly in a matter of days after that first one. And mind you, this is a week. This is during finals week. This is right before summer. I'm on summer, break from school, and I had the second interview, and then I didn't hear back. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure how that interview went. And so I took another one of my finals, and again, I was walking to go get lunch, and I got another phone call, and I got another voicemail, and I listened to the voicemail, and it said to call them back, which again is a good sign. So I called them back, and I got an offer. I got my first internship offer I've ever gotten in my life. Super excited. It was a paid internship. It was in IT. It was at a good company, and I was very, very excited. And I honestly, I just was like, that was like the thing that I needed after taking finals. And it made me honestly just feel this overwhelming sense of relief knowing that I have something now lined up for the summer. It made me feel secure in the fact that, not only is this going to, give me something to do for the summer, but it's also going to help me long term in my career. And I knew that, despite the fact that it was an IT internship, I knew that it was going to help me in my journey to become a software developer, just because any professional experience helps. And so I wasn't at the time, I wasn't even thinking about the other software development internships that I didn't get. I wasn't thinking about that. All I was thinking about was accepting this offer and starting. And that's exactly what I did. So during the summer, I drove my first day in traffic at 8:30 in the morning into the city, parked my car, listening to Time to Pretend by MGMT. And if you have never listened to that song, I would give it a listen, and I think it creates a really unique feel, especially if you are driving into your first day of work. I don't, something about it for me, you just got to give it a listen in that context. It's super cool. It creates a really, really, really cool feel. And I think about it all the time. So I got out of my car, walked into the office, and that was the start. And I remember one day I sat down at my desk, and I had been working on a project, and I had gotten one of those like flavored waters, the hint waters. I got one of those because, to be honest with you, I saw it on a day in a life video. And I was just super excited. So I got one of those because I wanted to make myself feel like I was like living this reality that I had been watching through YouTube for the longest time. But now I was in it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get one of those waters. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to pull up like whatever I had been working on at the time. And I'm just going to look at it because I'm like, all right, I've made it. I finally made it to, I've made it. And this is what I've been watching for so long on YouTube. I spent, just years watching just day in the life videos and getting, super excited because I'm like, man, that's what I want to be doing, right? And now I am. And now I was getting paid to do something related to what what I wanted to do. While it wasn't directly like software development, I still felt like I made it because I felt like I finally got my foot in the door professionally. And ultimately it proved to work because after that internship, I got another internship, and then I got my first software development job. But that first internship still was a super surreal moment for me. And it really marked the start of this journey that we're on now. And I just think back to all the time that I spent studying and preparing, and it's honestly just generally being clueless about life and jobs and all that stuff. But somehow I got into the internship, and it was a great experience. I really, really valued that time It was a really special time for me because, again, it was my first internship. So, yes, I was super excited. And I remember thinking on the last day of the internship, what's next? What's next in this journey? And for me, just the fact that I was able to ask what's next was very exciting because when I ended that internship, it was a really big achievement for me because it was something that I had worked so hard for so long, and it finally came to be. And it was just, honestly, it was I was very proud in that moment, and I was very excited. And it helped me. That excitement carried me through a long way in my final year in college and upon graduation. Um, yeah, I think it's a very surreal moment. Anyway, yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about was kind of that story. So if you've had a similar experience to that, let me know because I think it's a very special and unique time uh, in life, right? That I think it's one that we're always going to remember. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.